The penultimate week of the 10th anniversary year is upon us, and in true NASA fashion, the Drivers' Championship is wide open, while meanwhile the constructors and manufacturers are essentially settled. How is that, you ask? Well, a late-season charge by Subaru has them close to closing out their 15th championship, and TWR Subi Squad has been the team to beat as they get closer to their second title. The battle is fierce between Alex Abeti, Francois Martel, Magnus Okenhaug, and defending champion Josh Klog, the first time that 4 drivers have been competing for the title in NASA history. Also, interestingly, 4 different nations are represented, and one last interesting fact is none of our title competitors have won here, believe it or not. The question is, who will be the one to etch the name on the trophy and get closer to the championship? As the Automotive Sports Network is proud to welcome you to Round 9 of the 2022B Overwatch Specialty Service NASA Rallycross Challenge from the Sonoma Raceway in Sonoma, California. As our broadcast and series brought to you by Overwatch Specialty Service, the only thing more unique than your problem is our solution. For more information, check out osscenter.com, as we thank Rob Hartland for your continued support. So hello everyone, it's Josh Mertz in the commentary box for the Automotive Sports Network this evening. I'm really good at my job because apparently we're still on demand at Wild Horse, which is incorrect. We pay attention to Marcos Palacio as we are in practice, just finishing up for the 9th round of the championship. Super excited to be here on ASN. Let me get this little graphic fixed. Apologies for this one here. And like I said, I'm really good at what I do. So there we go. We should be good to go and all set for this race. As our format for today's race, 4 races, 4 cars in each. We have the 4th heat race. We'll have 3 cars. We have 15 cars here this evening. 6 laps, Joker once, top 2 advance. The rest will go to semifinals. Should be, I think, 1 race. Either way, it's going to be 5 laps, Joker once. The top 2 will advance. It'll be 10 cars, 10 laps, 2 Jokers. Here in Sonoma, as our graphic is technically incorrect, but it's also correct, as Jamison Huffman is not the points leader for the Sportsman Cup yet. No Cody Crosgrove, which is interesting because Crosgrove or Huffman wasn't here last week. Now there's no Cody Crosgrove. As coming into today's race, like I had mentioned, Alex Abeti on top in points with 148. Josh Klog, 147. Francois Martel, 145. And Magnus Okenhaug, 134. But Josh, he's nowhere close to those other guys. Maximum points you can get per race is 28. So, after this evening, they are the only 4 that will be mathematically eligible for the championship as we begin qualifying here in Sonoma. Such a wonderful track to run at, 0.93 miles, just 5 corners, utilizes the NASCAR short chute and part of the drag strip back up the IndyCar layout in reverse. As we look at Francois Martel, the French-Canadian, Magnus Okenhaug, the Norwegian, Josh Klog, the American from Maryland, and Alex Abeti from Germany. The Sportsman Cup, like I also mentioned, Cody Crosgrove is 24 points ahead of Jamison Huffman. Huffman theoretically can take this championship if he finishes ahead of Jess Rakowski and Jake Robichaux, as I don't believe there are any other Sportsman cars. I think Brock Quinn is, but I'll get to that in the warm-up session when I'm figuring that out. The Constructors' Championship, 282 for TWR Subi Squad, 189 for TWR Bug Life. The Subi Squad certainly been the squad to beat this season, looking for their 2nd consecutive championship. And Subaru 23 points ahead of Ford. And unless Alex Abeti has a good evening, Subaru might lock this up this evening, as I think he is the only Ford in this race. 3 minutes left to go in qualifying. Francois Martel half a second up as we look at the French-Canadian here in car number 12. And so glad that everyone could join us on the Automotive Sports Network for the penultimate round of the 26th season of the NASA Rallycross Challenge. So exciting throughout this season, despite having a little bit less of the car count that we normally are used to. But still, these guys and girls are going to have a wonderful race. I was on track in the beginning moments of practice, and this track just as difficult as ever. You'd want to hit that curb, but you also don't want to hit that curb because if you go too far, it'll spit you to the left, over the wall. Not a fun time. This first corner, so tricky to get right. You think you want to dive it into the corner. You think the dirt would support you? Absolutely not. You're going to go way out to the left-hand side, driver's left. But the line is driver's right on that white paint. Over the crest, down the hill and back up the hill. And Francois Martel still 4/10 up as he's already done with his qualifying run. Josh Clogg on track, already done with his qualifying run. Is Carson McKenna done with his qualifying run? I'm not sure if we have anybody here that's on their qualifying run. For Chris Wetz, car number 71, the man from Texas, third all-time on the wins list. And hopefully a good run for him. He's had such bad luck this season. Made a return after last week off. We'll see if Wetz for True North Esports can make it into the feature, as we will have a 10-car feature like I had mentioned earlier. Only 3 cars not to run. Alex Abeti. Abeti crosses the line on his first lap, 40.595. Where does that place him? Places him P2. He's 3/10 down. We're going to stay with Alex Abeti in the 99. Jess Rakowski and Brock Quinn, the only 2 that have not taken their laps. Rakowski just completes her first lap. She is in P14. She must have had an issue. So the German, Alex Abeti, in car number 99, going to ride on board. Currently sitting in second here in qualifying, and we know how important pole position is. Final corner, perfect apex, doesn't clobber the curb, careful over the jump, nose dives, and I think he's going to quit this lap and have one more left. We'll have to wait. He does go back to pit lane. He's got 30 seconds. I think that's it. You won't have time to make another lap, so Alex Abeti. Let's find Brock Quinn in the 005. He ran a 42.6, but I don't think it counted. He crosses the line, P14. So Martel looks like he'll get this, although Abeti's going to try again, but like we talked about in the EMSA E-Roval race, it's not 0 as long as you started your lap. It's 0 regardless. He is not going to set his lap time, and he's going to be doomed to pole position in heat number 2. So Francois Martel, Carson McKenna, Justin Robichaux, and Justin Ament will be on the grid. 1 Volkswagen, 3 Subarus. Martel won earlier this season. So did Carson McKenna. Justin Robichaux, horrible luck. And Justin Ament, one of the newcomers like we have talked about so many times before. As Martel won in Daytona, McKenna won in Spain for his first win in the NASA Rallycross Challenge. 4 cars, 6 laps, green flag for Heat 1. McKenna gets smoked off the line compared to Martel and Robichaux. Down to turn number 1. Robichaux had a bumper on the 12, couldn't make it happen. We can't joker on the first lap. You have to cross the start-finish line, complete a lap, and then you can joker over the jump for the first time. Martel leads, Robichaux, McKenna, and Justin Ament. So the Volkswagen, fastest car here, trying to rejuvenize Volkswagen's quest for the Manufacturers' Championship. And it's all down to Francois Martel in car number 12. Robichaux applying pressure in the 93. And the Canadian driver certainly trying to race his countrymen. Carson McKenna applying pressure to car number 93. Let's see who will joker on the first opportunity here in Sonoma. Looks like nobody does in this heat race. Over the jump. Very squirrely was Justin Ament, and I thought McKenna had some issues as well. It looked like McKenna hit the curb entering turn 1. But no issues for them as we look from high above. Pretty even gap between these guys. Across the field, the Patrick gets sent flying from Martel. Gets sent flying from Robichaux, off track. McKenna in the 11, bearing down on the 93 of Justin Robichaux. Who will joker now? McKenna's going to joker, so here's the strategy beginning to unravel. As Justin Ament still sits in third, we'll notice the speed differential between Martel and McKenna goes to the lead. Into turn 1, McKenna hits the sleeping policeman. If I'm Martel, I'd be very worried because you're effectively not racing this car. Martell gets by McKenna. McKenna going to fall into the clutches of Justin Robichaux now. Robichaux could easily joker and take this transfer spot back. As let's take a look and see. Martell jokers, so he will clear himself. And it's interesting that Robichaux didn't joker. Maybe he's not worried about getting by McKenna. He knows that he's got a solidified transfer spot here as we take cross flags halfway home in heat number 1. Gap is 2.1 seconds from Martell to McKenna. From the 12 to the 11, cones being sent. Robichaux a little squirrely through turn 1. And Justin Ament out back in car number 2. That first corner, very street circuit-esque off the line. Very cramped. No room for error. Jokering as Robichaux almost got hit by Ament in car number 2 as we take 2 laps to go. Will Robichaux come out in front of McKenna? They're going to be racing! So that I told you that might have hurt Robichaux, and it did! The 93 back to third. McKenna wide in turn 1. And it's going to be a duel for the transfer here in Sonoma. Contact off the corner. And Robichaux does not benefit from that. The beneficiary, Carson McKenna, utilizing strategy at the best possible time. And now Robichaux might have some suspension damage potentially, or he's just rattled because now he's falling into the clutches of Justin Ament. White flag for Francois Martel here in heat number 1 in Sonoma. The French-Canadian trying to get to the top of the board. Ament gets by Robichaux now, so Robichaux falls from 2nd to 4th, and now Justin Ament might sneak into a transfer spot as off the road goes McKenna. Side by side on the outside, McKenna went off the road, maintains this spot. Ament stays off of him. Half a lap to go. McKenna holds this position. Ament smelling blood in car number 2. Martel, 5.5, 5.25 out in front of the rest of the field. He takes the checkered flag as he takes the final corner. Final corner now for Carson McKenna, and it looks like McKenna's going to transfer as Martel wins heat 1. As Ament and Robichaux to the semifinal, and what a way to start the penultimate round this evening. Alex Abetty, Magnus Okenhaug, the first shot at a couple championship competitors in a heat race. And Alex Abetty straight on track in car number 99, holding the red plate. The winner a couple times this season, as he won in Knock Hill and he won in Iowa. Magnus Okenhaug, he won the Endurance Cup for this season, Bark River and Wild Horse. He was fighting Matt Hartley for the 2020A championship here in Sonoma, came so close in that season. It's going to be interesting to see. Abetty, Okenhaug, Wetz, and Brock Quinn. So all 3 manufacturers represented in this heat race. We have another 6 laps. Top 2 will transfer. Green flag in Sonoma. Abetty gets a great jump compared to Okenhaug. Wetz on the outside down to turn 1. Magnus, there, snuck to the inside, couldn't make it happen, but he pushed Wetz out the way. Over the jump for the first time. Abetty leads Magnus, leads Wetz, leads Quinn, and Magnus can't let the 99 out of his sights. Already all over the track, trying to sneak through, gives him a little nudge. The 26 does to the 99. Up the hill, through the dirt, cleaning the track is Alex Abetty. Back down the hill, left-hander. Subaru better line than the Ford. Up the hill. And Magnus a car length away. Now we can take the Joker as we complete basically the first lap. If I'm Magnus, I would Joker immediately. He does not. Wetz tries to, slams the wall in the 71. So we'll have to look at left front damage for the man from Texas. I don't think that was a good idea for Magnus, though. Gap is about 2-3 car lengths through turn 1. Is Okenhaug having some connection issues there in the 26. Remember the Norwegian and the German in this heat race here. And Chris Wetz and Brock Quinn at this point. Now Magnus Jokers, so we'll have to look at the rotation between these two. Exiting the Joker, put Magnus to the lead, clear of Abedi, and now set your sights on the clear track and not worrying about anybody in front of you unless you're Alex Abedi. Abedi really ripped the grip in turn one, such a tricky line to get right, and that might have hurt him, over-rotated in the middle of the corner. As we'll ride on board the rear bumper of the 26 of Magnus Okenhaug, looking back at our championship leader, Alex Abedi. Now in car of Alex Abedi, over the jump. 0.6 of a second is the gap as we take cross flags in Heat 2. This is for the middle grid spot on the front row, which is still crucial, because if you can get a good jump, you can jump the pole man, Francois Martel, and anything can happen, and it usually does. 3.3 3/4 make it 4 from Okenhaug to Wetz in the 71 and the 005 of Quinn. As these two out and away, Abedi still has not jokered. And I'd be worried if I'm Magnus, because you know how quick Abedi is. Abedi's not going to joker. He might pressure you into a mistake for you to lose this transfer spot. And what a battle these last couple of races are going to be. I was glad you could join us all season long, whether it's on ASN Live or on ASN On Demand. Abedi to the inside, side by side. Abedi tries to take the lead. He doesn't have to take the joker. Remember, these guys are teammates for TWR, but they are satellite teammates with different manufacturers. Magnus had some connection issues as they make contact, and Magnus gets turned. And just like I mentioned a couple moments ago, whether it was connection or making a mistake, that's why Abedi did not take the joker, because now he can take the joker, and he doesn't have any pressure. Huge damage on the right front of Magnus's car. He's a long shot compared to the other three for the championship, but he's got to make sure that he can hold this transfer spot. As we take a look, we remember Chris Wetz does not joker until the last lap of the race. If this timing is updated, Wetz has not jokered. It will be a battle for Chris Wetz to make it into a feature, and what a story that would be if he got by one of the championship competitors through the final sector for the final time here in Heat number 2. We know that Abedi's out and away from the rest of the field. He takes to the jump. He will win Heat number 2. Where is Wetz? Wetz will enter the joker. Magnus has to jump, and Chris Wetz will make a feature. He makes it in Sonoma. And one of the pioneers of NASA Rallycross finally gets good luck. And he will transfer, pipping one of the championship competitors. Chris Wetz has done it. Okenhaug and Quinn to the semifinal. It's been quite some time since Chris Wetz has made a feature race. We remember, and I mention every single time, third all-time on the wins list in NASA Rallycross, 20 career victories for the man from Texas. As we begin Heat number 3, Josh Klog, defending champion in car number 199, Brian Sawyer, Jamison Huffman, Jess Rakowski. Another 6 laps, and you have to make sure you hang on to Klog here in Heat number 3. Green flag, Sawyer even, Huffman even, down to turn number 1, 3 wide into the first corner. Sawyer's the meat in the sandwich. He gets pipped by Huffman, and Klog out and away. Rakowski to the inside of Huffman in the 999 to the 89 into turn 1. Rakowski goes to third. Klog loves this. He needs those bonus points to stay in the championship fight as we begin the first lap. Into turn 1. Huffman really sliding it in the 89. Remember, he's going to be battling Rakowski this evening for Sportsman Honors, and he has to essentially win this race in order to tie up the Sportsman Cup going into Phoenix next week. Brian Sawyer in the 88, I should say. Interesting line by Sawyer. Rakowski and Huffman come together, and Rakowski into the wall. So all that talk that I had about a Sportsman Cup battle, at least in the heat race, might be silenced. Brian Sawyer hanging with the defending champion Josh Klog. And I'm really sad that I'm going to have to pull him out of this car for next season for the ASN live shows. But Brian's certainly showing that he still has it through turn 1. What a run on Josh Clogg! As the man from Wisconsin, Brian Sawyer, against the man from Maryland, Josh Clogg. Subaru versus Ford. We know the Subaru all-conquering platform and rally. Sawyer nips the wall there in the 88. And Huffman in the 89. And Rakowski in the 999. Sawyer's going to joker. So we'll be able to take a look at strategy as we begin lap number 3. Sawyer to the race lead. The last lap was a 39.6. Last lap was a 41.1. So the delta's about 2 seconds. And Clogg has a second of that already. As we do have 4 heats this evening. We will have 1 more after this heat race. It's going to be a 3-car heat race. It's a little bit more tamer. And the cars that do not transfer, remember, go to the semifinal, which is a 5-lap race. Top 2 will transfer out of that for a 10-car feature. As we take a look there. Will Clogg respond? He does not. We take cross flags. Huffman and Rakowski are running their own races. This is the battle, and Clogg has hounded the 88 of Sawyer. Still in a transfer spot. But there's just something about being able to say that, yeah, I might have beaten the defending champion in a heat race on pace. That's something to talk about. And Brian Sawyer 4/10 up on Josh Clogg. But no joker for the man from Maryland. Relatively cool day here in Sonoma as the action heating up on track. But I expect Clogg to joker here in the coming moments. Slowing down, he will take the lead as he jokers coming to 2 laps to go. 66 ambient, 71 track temp, 45% humidity here in Sonoma. Sawyer still sits in a transfer spot, which is good for him. Huffman has not jokered, but he will not get 7 seconds out of a joker lap. That contact with him and Rakowski battling there for the sportsman, the best sportsman in the heat race, but realistically there really wasn't a purpose to do that as you were not in a transfer spot. 39 flat for Clogg's last lap, 41.3 for Sawyer's last lap. And it was expected that Josh Clogg was going to have a teammate, TJ Staver, I do believe. He did register at the beginning of the championship, but did not show up. So Josh Clogg, after all of his efforts, winning races, getting on the podium, his results mean nothing for the Constructors' Championship because he's not in a multi-car team. And that was one of the gut-wrenching things when you're up front leading a championship. You're winning the Drivers' Championship, but granted, your team really has nothing to celebrate as you are not credited as a team's champion, as the gap is 1.5 seconds, 1 3/4 now, from Clogg to Sawyer. Sawyer trying everything to get back at Clogg, but I don't think it's going to happen. Outside pole for Josh Clogg in car number 199. It's going to be an absolutely scintillating feature race in a couple minutes, but Clogg and Sawyer transfer as Huffman and Rakowski are out. Final heat race here in Sonoma. Once I get my cameras together. Palacio, Dipple, Jake, Robichaux. 3 Subarus, 6 laps, green flag. Dipple got a great start for that first phase down to turn 1 alongside Palacio. Jake Robichaux just going to wait for these guys to crash, as we know the newcomer just trying to gain speed in these rally cars. Try to keep up. He rips the handbrake, and around he nearly goes. This is going to be a duel between these guys. When you realistically have nothing to lose, you will drive a little bit more crazy, so we'll expect a good bit of pace. Marcos Palacio, like I've said before, one of the most peculiar drivers in our championship. So fast, so inconsistent, and he has not won a race yet, as John Dipple won in Crandon. So close is the Briton near the Argentine through the middle sector. Up the hill, back onto the asphalt, down into the runoff of the NASCAR short chute, and it funnels you down really tight into the drag strip. Dipple jokers on the first opportunity. Palacio drifts it through the final corner over the jump. but Dipple will take the lead. Gap's about 2 seconds. The delta is, I should say, for a Joker lap. So we'll just have to make a note and see if Palacio can close this delta up on Dipple. As this final heat race will determine the 7th and 8th seeds in our race this evening, which then everybody else goes into the consolation, semifinal, LCQ, whatever you'd want to call it. Looks like we'll have one tonight. 5 laps, and the top 2 will transfer. Palacio hovering around that 2-second gap. Not in a really pressured mindset here, as Jake Robichaux, I think, spun again and crashed in the 69, 20 seconds down on the top 2. So we have a little bit of a moment. We can probably do a sneak peek of our schedule starting in February of next year. So we'll have another 10 races. Might just take me a minute to scroll up and find it. Super excited. Hopefully, as more details will be solidified soon, but hopefully Overwatch Specialty Service will return. Remember, Rob Hartland, all of your support. Thank you so much from all of us here at NASA Sim Racing. Unofficially, we're going to start the season February 27th at Brands Hatch, Not Kill in Hell, so the European swing will still be in full effect. Charlotte, Atlanta, Daytona, Lucas Oil, Crandon, Wild West, and Phoenix. Unofficial, which it could always change from driver input or leadership input. And remember, if you'd like to join us, nasadiscord.tk, that link should still work. If not, I can put a link either in Twitch chat or on ASN On Demand. A couple programming notes since we have the time. Next week, the season finale of the Overwatch Specialty Service NASA Rallycross Challenge from the Phoenix Raceway in Avondale, Arizona. Join myself and hopefully Philip Kraus, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. That's going to be an absolutely thrilling race. And the EMSA Service Experts E-Roval Series Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Brian Sawyer, Cody Erdman, and myself from the Rockingham Speedway in North Carolina. We had a wonderful race there yesterday at Homestead, and that race is on ASN On Demand for your viewing pleasure. As in the off-season, hopefully we'll get a website put up for ASN, so it would be asntvUSA.com. I apologize there. It's just a matter of me finding time to be able to do it, so we'll have to take a look and see. Dipple still holding this lead. Palacio has not jokered, I don't believe, unless I'm horribly blind and missed it. He did not joker, so this is it for Palacio. He's got to make it happen, and he's hovering over 2 seconds. 41.0 for Dipple, 40.930 for Palacio. So just, it's a negligible gap here. But Palacio through turn 1 much quicker than Dipple, so this is going to be interesting. And we'll just take a look from high above for this entire last bit of this race as we focus on Palacio, the Argentine, in car number 83. As Dipple obviously cannot joker, Palacio has to joker on his last opportunity. Over the jump, right out of shot goes Dipple, but Dipple's going to hold it, and Dipple wins. So maybe it was a little bit of a late joker decision. But Palacio second, and Jake Robichaux third, but Dipple wins heat number 4. So, crucially, Magnus Okenhaug is in this race. Why is that a big deal? He was in a consolation in the original championship season that he had, 2020A, Wild West, missed the feature race. That's how crucial it is to transfer. 5 laps, 7 cars, top 2 transfer, and this might ruin one of our championship hopefuls' season. Also keep an eye on Huffman for the Sportsman Cup. Green flag. Off the line, Ament on pole position, down to turn 1. Huffman on the outside, Okenhaug in the middle, thought better of it, ripped the handbrake to stay out of trouble. The Woven Planet cars nearly come together. All 4 of them are in this race. Ament rips the handbrake into Magnus, he gets turned. And Magnus gets turned as well. And one of the cars on the wall, it's Justin Robichaux. Exiting the Joker by mistake was Ament, and everything's coming unglued in turn 1. And Magnus gets turned by Ament. And our championship competitor might be out. As Robichaux back to the pit lane. Ament in car number 2. The 26 of Magnus. So let's get an update. It is Jess Rakowski sitting in a transfer spot as Jamison Huffman leads. You told me 30 seconds ago I was not going to expect this. Rakowski jokers in the 999. Good for her to get her strategy out of the way. Jake Robichaux in the 69. All 4 Woven Planet cars in this race. Rakowski does not come out in front of Huffman. Quinn, Robichaux getting passed by Magnus. Magnus jokered. Contact in turn 1. Off the road goes Jake Robichaux in the 69. Magnus has taken his joker. This is going to be an incredible rally from the Norwegian. But he might be seeing his championship hopes fade away. Brock Quinn in the 005 is his next victim. In the nature of these races, you just don't have a lot of time to get something done. Quinn will joker in the 005. And Magnus has to make magic happen. Or hope that something happens in front of him. Maybe the teammates will come together. Huffman half a second, make it 3/4 ahead of Rakowski. Rakowski was wide in turn number 1. Struggling in the 999, ahead of her teammate Quinn. They have taken the jokers, Huffman is not, so let's not worry about Huffman here. We're more so going to focus on the Woven Planet cars and on Magnus. And I'll tell you what, riding on board this 26 is going to be an absolute treat to see if he can get to the front. Over the jump in the 26. Will a first turn incident in an LCQ hinder him again? 2 laps to go. Huffman, Rakowski, Quinn, Ogenhaug. That running order has not changed. As while I don't have a replay graphic, I'll try and take a look. And see what exactly happened during that start, just to see. Huffman holds the lead. He's going to take the white flag. This is crucial because Rakowski would be battling him for the sportsman win. Quinn in 3rd, Okenhaug 4th, 5th is Jake Robichaux. Robichaux, I think, might have taken a second joker by mistake. He did not. I apologize there. I just don't know how to read. So Huffman's the only car that has not jokered yet. And Magnus has parked it in the 26. The championship hopes are over for the Norwegian, while the Endurance Cup is a silver lining. The overall Drivers' Championship, done and dusted. Final corner for Jamison Huffman, the beneficiary of the chaos in turn 1, and Jess Rakowski will survive as well. She makes the feature in Sonoma, the 10th and final seed. 11th will be Quinn. 12th, Jake Robichaux for his best finish in NASA Rallycross. 13th will be Justin Ament. 14th, Magnus. And 15th, Justin Robichaux. Wow. And while coverage has not concluded, this is the only graphic that I have to mask that I'm rewinding on a live show, which is a pet peeve of mine. I apologize for that one. We've got a 5-minute warm-up. I'm going to try and take a look here and see exactly what happened. It looked like maybe everyone was just trying to gun for the same spot. But maybe that's what happened. We'll have to take a look. Let's find blimp cam. We'll bring this back. So turn 1, Ament rips the handbrake. Way deep on the corner. He knows he's not going to make it. Magnus has no choice but to go to the inside, and that's what seals it. He hits him, gets sent over into Justin Robichaux, and poor Robichaux rides the wall, actually ends up on the other side of the wall, instantly out. And Quinn's off the road. Ament was off the road. Quinn's in the middle between these guys. Ament already out of control, and into turn number 1, just doesn't turn. So that'll be fun for race control, aka me to view. But as a result, Magnus is out. So what a turn of events here in Sonoma. Apologies for that. As I'm going to step away for just a moment, have a drink of my water bottle, and I'll be back as we get ready for Sonoma. Because now that I'm freshly hydrated, we are finishing up the last half of warm-up here. And this is going to be the three-man show for the championship. And anything happens in NASA Rallycross, and it usually does. That exact phrase is why I say that. This race is why I say that every single week. As Magnus was an outside shot to begin with, but still he was within the championship fight. But if there's one thing that... Tooting my own horn, sorry. There's one thing that myself or Phil would know. Consistency is the name of the game. And the issue in that heat race is the whole reason why you get put in that scenario, and it's just something that you cannot be put into, because while you might be faster than all the other guys in that race, and that's no disrespect to anybody else that was in that LCQ, you are fighting guys that are always in that race, that are always having to fight that hard for a transfer, and sometimes it just happens. There have been numerous times where I was on the other side of the fence, that Phil was on the other side of the fence, that Cody Erdman, Chris Wetz, everyone on the other side of that fence. But the defeat will allow you to become better and come back in 2023 and challenge for a championship. The rumor is that the LRL racing team is coming back. Jan Gronquist, Dan McDonald, Magnus Ogenhaug, and John Dipple. That's going to be fascinating to see, as that season starts the end of February, and it's incredible. Year number 11 is going to be on deck. Season 27 of this championship, and every single season is just as exciting as the first. Glad you can join us on ASN Live, on ASN Twitch, or ASN On Demand on YouTube. It's Josh Mertz, directing, commentating, analyzing, all the good stuff here in NASA Rallycross. As Philip Kraus had some prior commitments, aka he never texted me back, so I'll deal with that later on. Our series and coverage brought to you by Overwatch Specialty Service. The only thing more unique than your problem is our solution. For more information, check out osscenter.com. Thank you so much to Rob Hartland for your continued support. Remember, our season ends next week in Phoenix, but we have one race tonight remaining, and that's our feature. 10 cars, 10 laps. We have a battle for the sportsman race between Jamison Huffman and Jess Rakowski, and if Huffman can win this race, he will take the points lead, officially this time, instead of just having incorrect graphic on the timing screen, but he will take the championship lead from Cody Crosgrove, and then that will be a 1-point winner-take-all in Phoenix for that championship. We have 3 men on the front row of this grid, 3 different nationalities, 3 different manufacturers, and we are battling for a championship. Just a couple rounds left. Glad you can join us here on ASN as we get ready to go green in Sonoma. Launch control set. Green flag. Clog gets snaked off the line, smoked off the line, whatever you'd want to call it. Down to turn 1. Martel up the line. Betty shoves Clog into the wall. Clog saves it. He's back in traffic. Rakowski gets hit by Huffman. Huffman's over. The sportsman cars have crashed at the first time of asking in turn 1. Martel leads Dipple. Betty Sawyer. Clog back in the field. One car to the inside. It looks like it's McKenna on Clog. So the defending champion way down the order off the road in the 199. Sportsman update, Rakowski and Huffman, they can battle each other as we are paying attention now to the race lead between Francois Martel and John Dipple. Half a lap so far completed. Martel, the fastest car here, and the Beetle Dipple hits the wall, and the Briton is off the track. Waiting for everyone to go by. McKenna wide, comes back out in front of Clog. Nearly contact between them. Who will joker? Betty jokers. Clog does not. I thought he would. Jokering is Palacio as McKenna gets nudged by Clog, and Clog gets spun over the jump by Carson McKenna. And the defending champion, when it rains, it pours. Back to 6th and heavy damage. Rakowski jokers, she comes out in front of Jamison Huffman. Remember, we have 2 jokers. Betty takes the lead. What happened to Francois Martel? I hate to do this, I really do. What happened to Martel? He ran it wide, as he did not joker. Now he's stuck behind Wetz. Palacio nudging Sawyer out of the way. This is for the 2nd spot. Sawyer takes to the joker. Betty has completed his strategy just like he did in Iowa. Sawyer's jokering. Palacio, Martel jokers to take his first bit of strategy. He's on the back foot. Wetz sits in 5th, the man from Texas. Josh Clog in 6th. Rakowski 7th, crucially winning the Sportsman Cup in the 999. Carson McKenna sits in 8th. Huffman 9th. John Dipple in 10th. It is these kind of races that are absolutely fascinating to watch over the past 10 years. 226 races, 245, I don't know where I got 26 from, but 245 of these races, and they never get old. Martel jokers to complete his strategy. He will come out ahead of Sawyer. Sawyer has 2 cars right behind him. It's Palacio and Wetz as we begin lap number 4. Betty, 4.5 ahead of Martel. He might have won this race by jokering, as both of their strategies are done. Getting that clear track, there had to have been something that happened to Martel for Betty to sneak this away, and we might see a 2-man race for this championship come Phoenix. Rakowski, 4 seconds up on Huffman for the Sportsman lead. As we look at Clog, stuck in traffic after that damage, there's certainly going to be a lot to review for me tomorrow. Betty takes lap 5. We're coming around this time to cross flags, and the German trying. Palacio thought we had team radio, sneaking into the picture behind Sawyer. Really squirrely. No grip on that left rear entering turn 1 for the Argentine behind the man from Wisconsin. Side by side up the hill. This is a battle for the 3rd spot on the podium. Brian Sawyer pushes wide, never hits his teammate. Palacio to 3rd. Will Sawyer try the over-under? He does not. Martel might have to settle for 2nd, although anything can happen as we take cross flags. Martel, Palacio, Sawyer, Wetz, Clog, McKenna, Rakowski, Huffman. Huffman battling Dipple. Huffman's off the road. Heavy damage, and he nearly hits the 34 there. Let's take a joker update. We remember Chris Wetz does not take his jokers until the last 2 laps of the race historically. 41.7 for the man from Texas. 42.6 for Sawyer. 41.5 for Palacio. So Wetz is nearly on the pace of Palacio. Not going to say anything else because I know that I will jinx him. The performance of Alex Abetty today, and really in Iowa when he's out and away from the rest of the field, absolutely incredible. And who would have predicted Josh Clog being involved in that accident in the first couple of laps? We take 4 laps to go. Sawyer, Wetz, McKenna, Rakowski. That running order has not changed. Huffman, and Clog has parked it. Once again, I apologize for rolling it back like this, but I'm going to take a look. And Clog rolled it on his own. I thought it might have been a rage quit, but it was not. A spectacular accident for the defending champion. So we for sure, unofficially, will have a 2-man race going into Phoenix in a week's time. And for the first time in a long time, we will not have a consecutive champion. As if we look at our championship breakdown, for the last 4 seasons, because we had Josh Clog last season, but Luke Krause the 2 seasons before, then it was Sindre Silva the 2 seasons before that. So it is so hard to win a championship in this series, but it's immensely hard to do it back to back. Just ask me. I only did it once. Martel in second, behind Abedi. We're coming to 2 laps to go. Palacio third, Sawyer fourth, Wetz in fifth. Joker update, Wetz has not taken any. The battle for the Sportsman Cup heating up as Rakowski hanging on in front of Jamison Huffman. And this would crucially mean that Huffman does not take the Sportsman points lead if he does not win this race. You get 25 for winning and 20 to finish second. He'd be 4 points down on Crosgrove if Crosgrove appears. So there's so many strategic elements to Jess Rakowski potentially winning in Sportsman. It's a 5-second, 4-second gap for Huffman to make up. White flag for Alex Abedi, the German, trying to get his 3rd career win and his 3rd victory this season and try to outwit Francois Martel for this championship. He's held the red plate the majority of this season. He tied with Josh Clog going into Iowa. Had a better run than Clog in that race and hasn't looked back. Martel, fastest car here in qualifying. And really got bitten by the Joker rotation, I do believe. As Wetz has taken his first Joker, he's come out in front of Brian Sawyer, so we'll have to take a look at that one. As a chaotic race for the first couple of laps, but Alex Abedi off the final corner, 3rd career win, and lengthens his championship lead as Francois Martel comes home in 2nd. Where is Chris Wetz? Wetz will Joker. Will he come out battling with Palacio? He does not. Palacio 3rd. Wetz, his best finish since the NASCAR 2003 days. McKenna pips Sawyer at the line. 5th for McKenna, 6th for Sawyer. Dipple comes home 7th. And Jess Rakowski wins her first race in the sportsman class in NASA Rallycross ahead of Jamison Huffman. As what a race for her. Huffman 9th, Clog in 10th. Wow. What a battle. As Dipple celebrating in NASA fashion for the 7th spot. Abedi celebrating as well in the 99. So, I'll have 2 interviews this evening as I'm by myself, and I don't want to do 4. I'm just going to be upfront with that one. I will have a chat with Alex Abedi and our sportsman winner, Jess Rakowski. So let me find Mr. Abedi. That's the wrong channel. Alex, it's Josh. You got me?
Yes, I got you.
What? So I thought Francois was going to smoke the field, and then you took the Joker and never looked back. Walk me through your race.
I had a bad qualifying. I knew I had the pace to match Francois, but he's very fast. And yeah, I knew in the race it would be the most important thing to not get a slowdown. If you get a slowdown, you will lose about 2 seconds, and then you're practically dead. So I tried to race safe but quick, and yeah, it worked out. And I needed this win very much because in Phoenix I'm going to suffer, but this win now feels awesome.
As I won't keep you too long. What is your thought going into Phoenix? You're going to have a decent points lead. Clog is now out of the championship. Magnus is now out of the championship, barring a miracle for Clog. But realistically, it's you and Francois. What do you think it'll take to take this championship?
Actually, I don't know. Anything can happen. I'm quick at Sonoma, at Phoenix, but the Fiesta will suffer at the jump and the curbs. So I will have to run very carefully, and I think a P2 would be enough, and I'm pretty sure that I can do it. I'm very sorry for Magnus, the incident we had in the heat, but I don't know. I didn't see him, and I don't even know what happened there. So sorry to him.
As it's all in the nature of the racing, my friend. Do you have anyone you'd like to thank for your 3rd career win and your 3rd win this season?
Yes, first of all, I want to thank you guys for putting on the nicest league, the most traditional full Rallycross league in esports. Thank you so much for this. And I want to thank Team Watson and Carsten McKenna, Marcus Palacio, and big shoutouts to Francois Martel. I'm looking forward to see you in Phoenix, my friend.
Thank you, Alex. Good win, and we will see you in Phoenix.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
And Jess Rakowski, you came into this race and you said, I'm not on the pace. And here you are, your first victory in the sportsman class. You beat Huffman. Walk me through your race.
Well, quite honestly, I didn't expect to be in this position. So, well, it started out. I got spun and because of netcode, it wasn't really anyone's fault. But like, I didn't really expect much to come from the race after that. But then suddenly, like, things just things just fell my way, I guess. I'm just really happy that I even got the chance, because even getting into the finals was a big moment for me. Um but or yeah.
It was
So
it was a chaotic heat race, a chaotic feature. I guess while you did say you survived, how interesting was it? Because you started, of course, in 10th, and then next thing you know, everybody's crashing in front of you. Championship contenders, fast guys, all just crashing into the wall.
well, I just channeled all the practice that I had in Wreckfest over the years.
That's the
But
best response I've ever heard.
yeah,
Oh,
I just got a pretty decent start off the line. I was in between two of I think it was Team Watson cars. And I was just like going through the first corner. I was like, please don't get spun. Please don't get spun. Please don't get spun. We were three wide, and I don't know, being in the middle three wide, that's always a dodgy or a sketchy position to be in. But you know, even if that particular moment didn't go my way, it still, I don't know, the race still ended up being pretty good. So yeah.
as anybody you'd like to thank for your first sportsman class victory this evening?
Well, I'd like to thank my team, Woven Planet Racing. They've been really supportive of me and helped me through this season. I've been getting a lot of tips from them. I also would like to thank Cody Erdman, because he got me the seat with Woven Planet for this season, and it's just been a really great opportunity to like learn and get comfortable in like a competitive setting.
As good win this evening, and we will see you in Phoenix.
All right, thank you.
As it's about all she wrote, ladies and gentlemen, for the Overwatch Specialty Service NASA Rallycross Challenge in Sonoma. What a surprise! 2 championship competitors effectively out in Phoenix, and it's pretty close to a winner-take-all in Phoenix next week. Remember, the IMSA Service Experts E-Roval Series, Sunday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time on ASN Live. Catch myself, Cody Erdman, and Brian Sawyer. We're going to be at Rockingham for that one. What a race that should be. And to seal up the 26th season of the NASA Rallycross Challenge, we will be live 9 p.m. Eastern Time next Monday at the Phoenix Raceway in Avondale, Arizona. From all of us at the Automotive Sports Network, Philip Krause, Cody Erdman, Brian Sawyer, I am Josh Mertz. We hope you enjoyed today's coverage on ASN, whether it's live or on demand. Either way, we'll see you Sunday or Monday for some more sim racing action. But until then, so long, everyone.